How far can we drive on a flat tyre? Burnout inevitably comes up in conversations around capacity with my clients, and I understand why. When one of our best leaders is struggling, there's a genuine commercial dilemma. The business may have contributed to the problem, probably has, through workload, ambiguity, pressure, poor boundaries, relentless change. The leader themselves can have contributed to that by taking on work that actually isn't theirs to do. And at the same time, the organization still needs the person, so we keep driving. And I've started to think about this like driving with a flat tire, because we can't take our foot off the pedal and slow down. Now, modern run flat tires are clever. They allow us to keep moving after pressure has been lost, but only for a while and at reduced speed. I suppose in business terms, what we would call presenteeism, running at half speed, if you like. Now, the purpose of a run flat tire is to give us enough time to get the problem fixed. Nobody drives around indefinitely congratulating themselves that the tire hasn't completely failed, or driving on a flat tire hoping it'll reinflate itself, because it never does. Yet we could do something remarkably similar to this with people. They're still attending meetings. They're still making decisions. They're still carrying their team. So we assume they're functioning. And this is where burnout intelligence, the second level up edge, becomes important. A recent literature review produced some really fascinating findings. For example, a 2003 meta-analysis found that the well-being lift from taking time off is gone within about a week of walking back in the door if nothing else happens. So put another way, it's a waste of downtime unless we do something differently. And another study found that when burnout compromised leaders and their supervisors collaboratively redesigned their role through job crafting and just looking at exactly what is required, they redesigned the role to identify the triggers. And it isn't always the workload, interestingly. And develop, at the same time, a self-care strategy. The return efficacy is double the usual practice and can save up to 200 days of that person returning to full capacity. So that changes the conversation. For a great many people, we begin restoring capacity while they remain working, provided we follow a defined process. Now that's pretty unusual, not to brag here, but the last two leaders who completed this innovative approach to burnout volunteered for promotion and more responsibility within 3 months of completing my program. And now I will say, even though I'm advocating remaining in role or recovering while in the role, as opposed to taking time off to recover, I will say for severe presentations, medical assessment and reduced demands may be required. The literature is very clear about that boundary as well. But it shouldn't be our first line of defense. One model we use to understand recovery looks at 3 things burnout progressively strips away. Burnout intelligence means recognizing the leak early enough to do something useful about it, because our critical leaders are far too valuable to keep driving until the wheel needs replacing, never mind the tire. This is one of the 5 edges that we develop through Level Up. And then they get to recognize that in their people as well. So burnout intelligence is not just for oneself, it's for one's team too. So if you have someone who's still performing and you suspect it's costing them considerably more than it used to, let's have a conversation about that. Thanks.